Hey, this is Tyler. Doing a little bit of HEMA sparring commentary. Just some light sparring here. Working off a knee injury. That isn't to, uh, oh, the sun was in my eyes. I got a knee injury. All that. It's not me making excuses. Just explaining that it's light commentary because I've had some people comment before. Why aren't you, trying to kill each other? We're in light gear, minimum gear really. Mask and gloves, no back of the head protection. So just a little light fun. We were just working on the squint cut or the squinter, Schielhau or Schielhau. I'm not sure how it's pronounced in German, and forcing engagement, forcing our opponent to stop being so flowy and changing through the guards and commit to one thing or another. And I do too much of that trying to lead my student here. So let's just get on with the commentary. So I stay in a guard for too long, deflect one thing, and then get hit in the hands. Make a little deflection here. He switches grip, and I make a simple deflection and then hit him in the head. And I'll go back over this round whenever the full thing is over. We don't do rounds, we just go to exchanges that we want. It's kind of an awkward nothing there. I could have capitalized on that, but he told me after the session, yeah, I know that wasn't great. And I was like, yeah, I could tell that was not your best, so I'm going to kill you for it. Here I'm still testing. Here you see his head recoil there because I bipped him in the face. I've been working the heavy bag. Oh, we laughed about that one because it did stop him in his tracks. I don't know why. I did not even attempt to wrestle there. I think it's because I have been working the heavy bag a lot this past couple weeks. So that was fun. I think the rest of this is just some commentary before we end. So I'll go back to the beginning. So we engage. He starts in a very Italian style wrath here. That'd be what? Posta di Donna, the woman's guard. Whereas in the German systems, it's Zornhau or Vaterstrike or either Wrath Guard, Peasant Strike, Father's Strike, these sorts of things. And it's slightly different in the German system. It is used to make your opponent give pause so that you can gain the initiative here. So I give him the initiative because I'm not really interested in walking into a big sword. I deflect up into Kron because the downside with Wrath is it's pretty obvious what you're going to do there. But I raise my hands up and I linger there too long and get hit in the hands. That's pretty basic. Pretty basic thing. And though I will be intentionally lingering for a bit because I am an instructor and I'm not, my goal is not to just stomp my students all the time, I will also be getting hit because I'm not doing correct things here. So don't feel like that's me saying, oh, I always let my students win. No, sometimes they get stuff over on you, right? Everyone's got a puncher's chance, as they say. Sword must have just barely not hit me there. And this is the downside to switching hands here. Something you can do. I think he tries to hit me with a flat here, which is interesting. Difficult to tell because we've only got the one angle. I meet his blade in a high ox. Bind. He goes lower, I go lower. We both step back and disengage. He's in a very low plow guard here. A very deep stance. This is something that is very, very stable, but I could choose to circle around if I wanted. But I think I choose to just let him waste some energy here. He makes a thrust towards my face after I fake like I'm going to go in. I don't. And then, just very simple, deflect with Kron, and then instead of lingering there, I just come straight back down. I'm trying to cut his hand, but he doesn't retreat and gets hit in the head here. Very simple. And then we make comments about, because I thought I hit him in the hand too hard. I did not. I felt cross guard, not bone. That low cut. He makes a low cut here from Wrath. Sorry, I don't know why I just forgot what that guard is called. I intercept it in Long Point, Posta Longa, Longort. It's not really important that you memorize these guard names, just that high guards tend to beat low guards. It's the principle of Oberlaufen. Cooper here is very properly going low to attack low because you want your shoulders pretty much in line with the blade. Even still, though, he is not in range to land this, so he's in a pretty compromising position. I try to wind my blade off of his and get around it. I should have stepped in and circled around instead of stepping back, and so nothing happens of it. I lower my guard to invite him to hit me high. I raise my hands too early and get my hands hit. That was a good little hand snipe from him. Starting a left tog here. Using Oliver. I throw a little cut preemptively just to engage with stuff. He throws that thrust way out of range again. I have a really good bind from Flug, Plow, Porta di Ferro in the Italian here. And then that's where that happens, and you see his head. And then that's the end of that one. So, go to the next video. Next, he's now in a left plow. Oh, interesting thing. He is left-handed and I am right-handed. So, lots of interesting stuff happens. Doubles are way more likely. It's more difficult to defend, and part of why I'm slow here is not because I'm trying to be slow and light sparring. Part of why I'm slow here is because I'm getting hit by stuff and I'm like, whoa, why is that coming from this angle? Why are we tied up here? Oh, right, we're wrong-sided. And he switches hands occasionally to make it even more difficult for me. So that's nice and neat. I do what he was doing. I'm just probing here. I know that's never going to land, but it may catch him off guard if he's all of a sudden decides to step forward, then boop, you catch a cheeky thrust there. Really, I'm trying to see his reaction to that. If he reacts to a thrust that was never going to hit him like he did, it probably means I can start being more aggressive, and I start to use that more here. Little engagement, I wind. I try to Krumpau there, his Guzlandschlag, but I'm too little too late, and so all I managed to do is make it graze my shoulder, but graze nonetheless. And here you see me rushing in more aggressively, and I think I hit him in the hands there. We'll go back and slow that down at the end. Throw a little shallow cut, a million miles away towards his head. Another little engagement, another hit to hand arm, something like that. Backing up. I feel myself backing into a corner, so I circle out. Throw a quick little zvirch to the head. Alright, let's go back and slow some of that down. So here, first engagement, again, I see that I can ward him off here. He gets into a low guard, so I thrust the head. And this just barely grazed me, but I'm not threatening him at all, so anytime he draws blood on me and I accomplish nothing, that's a win for him, right? Because in reality, we have no way of knowing if that would have just grazed me, or if all of a sudden I can't use that shoulder anymore. And if I can't use the shoulder, well, that is a pretty big advantage to him. In an actual sword fight, of course. And there, I make a quick couple of exchanges. Let's see if we can't scrub here. So I make a cut into plow. I let my blade fall through, I hang, I make an undercut, and then I cut down into plow again. I make another undercut, and I think that last undercut was just retreating. I think it was that third cut. So just a rapid flurry going through the Myers square, which is if I attack high left, I'm going to then attack low right. If I attack up, my second attack targets down. If I attack right, my second attack targets left. So just overwhelming his defenses there. Cut into a little bit of an odd plow guard there, and somehow I hit his hand, chest, arms. I'm not sure. Let's slow that down again. Let me pause it so it isn't so stuttery. So I cut here. I leave the point out here, kind of in a key guard, not really in anything. So I hang there, go up into Kron again. I cut down onto his hands. Yeah, so that must have just been that basic Oberhow after a deflection. Enter again. I'm keeping I've gotten my hands hit a couple times here, so now I'm keeping them tucked in a low tog. I intercept his Unterhau here with a plow leaning into, again, like Kron Ox. I make a void here to gain some distance. Here, again, I can feel my back's against the wall, so I start to circle out. I catch his blade on my crossguard, shooting into a high long point. I slip up into Crown because I can feel him approaching, but he pulls out at the same time. I thought he was going to keep going in. I've disengaged. Here's where I catch it. So, again, I catch this in Ox. Slide down on his blade. And try to hit him with the false edge. He retreats again. Do I throw his Virch here? Is that what I throw? Yes, I throw his Virch here into a hanging point. It's pretty low as Virch, but he's also very low, so I need to lower my own guards. And then that's Virch is what blows through and hits him in the head. So let's play that at full speed. Yep. If you're wondering why Cooper's stance is so low, it's because he comes from a high school wrestling background where their stance is necessarily very low, and Meyer also has some pretty low, deep stances. And as I mentioned, they force me to lower my strikes as well, and whenever I'm lowering my hands, I'm opening my own head for a strike. So it's a risk-reward kind of thing. It's more exhausting to be that low all the time. We're both out of measure, flailing. Duck under here. And here, I've done the same thing 3 times here, and that's just is too much. I needed to commit to something. That was bad on my part. The first person to take advantage there is usually the one that wins. Here, I present my head as a target, deflect, bang, get a little tip cut to the face. That one went perfectly in my favor. One Nebenhut. And you should see that the guards, and then that was a draw cut across the arm, and we called it there. You should see that these guards are, they're going by so quickly, I can't even name them all unless I'm going play by play, which I will do here. So here we're just kind of wandering around in Zufect, and I throw a cut that I never intend to land. Then I start winding off to the opposite side of his sword. I don't know why I do that. He attacks from a mile away. We're both just sort of flailing because we both did things the other didn't expect to do and missing. So that was not very clean HEMA. I start approaching him here. I'm in plow here. I start walking forward, changing to a hanging guard. He pulls back. So instead of continuing the hanging guard, I go back around, make an Oberhowl, drop down into Alber, Start backing off myself. Cut into plow again. Raise up as if I'm going to throw his Verch, but again I see he's out of range, so I just go back into Tog. Cut in. I'm in Schlüssel or Key Guard here, lining up a thrust. Wind offline because I feel that he has pressure coming down here, so I wind against it. Disengage again. And I really just need to do something here, and instead of doing something, I go high and get my hand sniped. I should have committed to a thrust off of that key. If you look right, wherever this was. Not super important. Yeah, here, instead of going high, I should have just stopped retreating and stepped forward, because all I've been doing here is just keep stepping back and making space for him to keep working rather than taking up that space, and I'm getting put into the corner here. So yeah, get in the hands. That's definitely an exchange that annoyed me most here. Let's go this play-by-play again. I switch shoulders. Engage. I raise my hands high. That way his blade is sliding here, working for a bind, doesn't have anywhere to go. It just hits my cross guard. I disengage. I cut down from Tog just to prevent him, because I know my back's to the wall here, so I need to prevent him from rushing me. I present my head as a target. He goes for it. I enter Hungenort very briefly here. It's like literally for a frame. Going from Hungenort, Crown, that instantly, to Ox snapping at his hands, and that little Ox short edge cut manages to hit him. Then here I'm in Nebenhut, and I'm basically preparing. Here we worked, as I said, Scheitelhau, the Squinter. So, sorry, Schielhau. Scheitelhau is a scalp cut. Yeah, they're German names. So here I'm thinking I can set up an attack that comes over, or I can attack under, or I can of course always just abandon the guard and transition out of it entirely. Which is what I do here. I just transition into plow, throw a horizontal cut towards his hands, transition into Ox to deflect that thrust from Ox, come back into Tog, step around. My guard sort of becomes a nothing burger here. I lower my guard. As soon as I lower my guard, he comes in. So I deflect into Ox again, and then right here, I cut down into long point and make a draw cut against his arms as he's retreating. And that's all she wrote. All right. When you're watching these videos, I recommend that if you're actually like trying to learn something from them, break down a little chunk, break down a specific exchange that you're interested in, that you think could help you, or that you've seen happen in your own school and you would like to improve upon. If you just watch this whole thing with commentary, you probably won't remember a ton of it. But, and if you're not watching this for, HEMA training purposes, this should hopefully show you exactly how much is going on in just 3 minutes of sparring here. These are just excerpts from what we've been sparring for, not sparring, but, class for an hour and 20 minutes at this point. So, there's a lot that goes into it. I don't really have anything else to say other than that. So, hope you like it. Thanks.